Well, Canadian Blood Services has changed the eligibility criteria for donors. The changes mean that our next guest, James Sharman, could give blood for the very first time. So explain, it's because you were from England.
Yeah. If you lived in England or France or UK, in fact, through the 80s and part of the 90s, you couldn't give blood.
Because of mad
cow disease.
Right.
Yeah. So December the 4th, those restrictions were finally lifted, which allowed myself and thousands of other Canadians to now give blood and do what's right.
Right. And this is a big deal for you because you watched your dad in England give blood all the time.
He'd brag about it and that. Yeah, I mean, in the 80s, they call it the blood bus to all the offices around London.
Yeah.
And back in those days, they would offer you, juice, coffee, tea, or beer after the blood. So obviously, big lineups.
Yes.
All these.
I've got to do my part. Got to go give blood.
Exactly. Now, I think times have changed.
Yes.
That is no longer the case.
Yeah.
Not ideal, obviously, but So he would always talk about it, and then I assumed that the minute I came of age, I'd be able to give blood. Moved to Canada in 1990. 16 years old, still a bit young. So by the time I was old enough, the ban was in place, and I was unable to.
Right. And there was a very specific point in time when you had a friend's family really needed blood, and you asked, what can I do?
Yeah, you feel useless. A friend involved in a car accident. Now, he was fine in the end, thankfully. But I said, what can I do? And he go, well, listen, we need blood in this ER, in this hospital. So I assumed, well, at that point, I'm sure I could give blood. So yeah, I did some research, asked some doctors, no, sorry, you still can't give blood. And you feel completely helpless. Mm-hmm. What can you do, right? It's such a simple process. So that was very frustrating.
Right. So how did you become involved with Canadian Blood Services then in donating and becoming a spokesperson?
A mutual connection, actually, who was working with blood.ca at the time. I had no idea the ban was being lifted at the time and this campaign was being launched. And he obviously knew that I had a background in the UK. Mm-hmm. So he just gave me a call and said, listen, would you be interested? I said, yeah, absolutely. It's a fantastic cause. Not enough people do it. It's so simple. You know that. You do it.
Yes. And actually, because we booked this interview, so Tim and I, my co-host, who you just met in the hallway, he and I are blood buddies. So we donate together. So yesterday, because we knew you were coming in, we booked our appointment for next week.
It's a great idea, a blood buddy, because you've got accountability now.
Yeah.
There's no excuse not to do this. You book your appointment online at blood.ca and you walk in there and literally within 20 minutes you're out. Mm-hmm. It's so easy.
We compete to see who can bleed fastest.
See, it's funny. I did the same thing. But
What's your time?
I did sub 6 minutes.
What? Whoa!
I know, which I think might be high blood pressure. I'm not sure. I'm a bit concerned by that.
It might be dangerous.
It might be, yeah. Because I was the same. I thought, I'm going to be quick here. But I thought, actually, maybe that's not a great thing. So I'm going to do some research there.
Wow.
Maybe less
What was your best time, Tim? You're 8. And I'm 8. I'm an 8.
Pedestrian.
Yeah.
Pedestrian. Olympian over here.
Okay, we will text you then when we know what our next time is. So we don't give beer, obviously,
no.
But what's your go-to snack?
I'm Cheetos.
Cheetos.
I was that guy. Yeah, I took advantage of the juice and what's available, but yeah, I was going Cheetos.
Okay.
Yeah, not the best choice. If you're working afterwards, the fingers get a little bit orangey, but
it's all right.
It gets the blood pumping once again.
Yeah, I go for the Bits and Bites and a Coke.
Okay.
It's one. Okay, to be honest, Tim and I donate for the snacks.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and the great cause.
Yes, of course.
You can imagine back in the day the beer being offered, there were lineups apparently outside this blood bus.
I can imagine that. Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Different times.
So now, when you went to donate blood for the first time last month, did you get that question, or did you not have that question anymore?
No. I mean, they did ask in the pre-screening when you lived in the UK.
Okay.
But apart from that, it's like anyone else.
Okay.
It's a thorough process, as you know.
Yes.
They ask you everything.
Yeah.
And they have to, obviously, for obvious reasons.
So that's what takes up most of the 20 minutes.
Yeah, the time is the pre-screening.
Yeah.
And then once you're actually in there donating the blood, it takes, like I said, 8 minutes for the pedestrians.
Or 6.
Or 6 in some people's case.
Okay, here's your reminder then to donate if you can. We'll get the links up to James's information as well and Canadian Blood Services on our website, chch.com/morninglive.